All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining me today on another webinar presentation. Today, we are going to be going through the Redtail CRM. So just a couple of things before we jump in here. If you do have any questions, feel free. If you do have any questions, feel free to submit those using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. We will be taking some time at the end of the presentation here to go through some questions. And then we should have the slides from this presentation available shortly following the conclusion of this event. And as always, we will strive to have the replay of the webinar available on the video library on LaSalle Street's Rep and Advisor portal, within a few days of finishing up here. So keep an eye out for that. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into talking about Redtail. So quickly, just to get us started for today, just to set some expectations for our agenda, we're going to start by going over just a general overview of Redtail, touch a little bit about what a CRM is, and then we will be moving into some of the CRM specific features that Redtail can provide. And then we're going to follow that up with kind of looking at some use cases, kind of some real world examples of how you may utilize some of these features. And then at the very end, we will finish it up with questions. So Redtail is a CRM software that is tightly integrated with a lot of the tools we kind of use in our day-to-day, whether that be eMoney, Wealthscape, so it is one of those kind of cornerstone pieces, but there's a lot to it. There's a lot of features and functionality. So I kind of want to just start at the very top with Redtail and kind of work our way down and get more granular here as we go. So we're going to start this off with just a bit of a brief overview. So what exactly is a CRM? CRMs are basically, it's just customer relationship management systems. It's software that allows you to manage your relationships with your clients, your company's relationships with your clients. And, depending on how much you put into it, it can help track and manage different interactions that you have with both current and prospective clients. There are several reasons for utilizing a CRM. Business News Daily did identify 11 key benefits to it, including an increase in customer service to your clients, increase in sales, improved customer retention, detailed analytics over the clients and the individuals that you work with on a regular basis. It leads to higher productivity and efficiency by having all of this information kind of at your fingertips. And with the way Redtail integrates with so many different other platforms, you're going to be working more productively. You're going to have kind of all of your information in a central location. Which brings me to my next point is it does definitely provide a centralized database of information for you, depending on how much you put into the CRM itself. Other benefits include the ability to manage communications with your prospective leads, improve customer segmentation when you're analyzing your book of business. Automated sales reports can be run directly through, different types of reports can be done directly through Redtail. And then also, more accurate sales forecasting and streamlined internal communications. If you have everyone kind of using the same system, getting that same information from it, it really improves efficiency in that regard. So now that we have that kind of out of the way, what specifically is Redtail CRM? Well, Redtail CRM was one of the first cloud-based CRM systems designed especially for financial advisors. There's a lot of integrations and a lot of features that are specific to the financial industry that Redtail CRM provides to its users. This does also aid in, kind of reducing some of the redundancy of data entry. As I had mentioned already, there is tons of integrations. So you can really kind of use this as a repository for all of your customer or client needs. So as a Redtail CRM user, Redtail does identify 6 different kind of tools or features of the CRM that they really think that their customers and their users should really be familiar with in order to get the most out of their system. That includes the statuses, categories, sources, and keywords, the activities feature, the notes feature, quick lists, linking, and account manager. So all of these kind of different features, we're going to touch on these here in this next section. But as we're kind of going through, you'll see how these different areas of Redtail kind of interact and work with each other, more than just, this is how you assign a status. This is how you, write a note for a client. You'll see that a lot of these individual tools that Redtail provides really do kind of work together to form a cohesive experience within the CRM. So just kind of diving in a little bit to provide a little bit more detail on some of the individual features that Redtail can provide for you. We're going to start by taking a look at activities. So activities do comprise most of those actionable items that you have in your CRM. These activities are typically associated with a specified date for when they should occur, and they're normally linked to different contact records within your CRM. Now, as a user, if you're an individual, you can assign these activities to yourself as the user of the CRM, or if you work with multiple people in the same CRM system, there's also ways to delegate those tasks to different individuals. Redtail, as I've kind of mentioned, also has a ton of different integrations with a lot of the kind of fintech firms that we're used to. You have different things like eMoney, the Wealthscape platform. If you're a user of Slack within your office, there's integrations with that. Tons of different integrations. If there is something that you are looking to integrate, Redtail is definitely one of those companies that either has that solution or will take the time to kind of work with you to either implement that solution, that integration within your CRM, or will try to help you work out an alternative kind of workflow to what you're trying to achieve with the integration being set up. We also have workflows. Workflows are kind of similar to activities in that you can assign them to different people, but workflows are more so the overall encompassing activity or steps of a whole process. So these are automated processes that can be designed within Redtail. And with setting these up, it kind of provides a trail of accountability for each of the individual tasks that may need to be completed. And kind of helps to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. One of the things that Redtail really kind of pushes is the idea that your workflow should not be just specific to your workflow within the CRM itself, but you should be kind of incorporating, your kind of day-to-day practices, even outside of, the Redtail universe into this to kind of create standardization across the board with some of the kind of routine tasks you do, client onboarding, clients leaving, client money movement requests, things of those nature. Redtail also provides you with an extensive kind of note-taking section that is associated with all of the kind of various different parts of the CRM. So you have notes for individual contacts, you have notes for family, you have notes for workflows. So you can kind of have notes wherever you need them. And one of the things that, Redtail says, if it hasn't happened in Redtail, it just didn't happen. It's a great way to kind of document those client conversations that you have, where you're at with any kind of prospective clients, or just good to know information that doesn't really have a home elsewhere in the CRM system. It can be as simple as, I talked to Joe Smith on this day, and we talked about the weather, or it could be something much more deep and deeper and kind of more involved than that. And Redtail provides you with the tools to kind of allow you the flexibility to take those notes how you want to take them. Another big feature from Redtail is the seminars feature. So this is kind of similar to kind of a big activity in that, seminars are kind of something that you can plan for and work with within the Redtail CRM. These seminars can be things such as an actual seminar where you're having people come out, but you can easily run different things like calling campaigns, cold calling, email campaigns, through this seminar feature within Redtail, and that kind of helps you keep track of where everyone is at within the client life cycle. And then another feature that Redtail has as well is the opportunities feature. So this is just a way, a kind of more specified way of using Redtail to monitor your sales pipeline and to kind of help move your prospective clients through the sales process. So if you're kind of working with a prospective client, you're trying to onboard them, bring their book of business over to National Financial, Redtail's opportunity tracker can kind of help you keep that all in line. And keep track of exactly where everyone is at in the process as you go along. Redtail also has a ton of different reporting features that you can use. So again, Redtail is primarily about what data you put into it. So the more data that you have, if you're feeding in data from National Financial directly, it's going to inform some more information about your clients. And then you can kind of look at that client data that you may have imported from Wellscape compared to some of your kind of categorizing or your different kind of configurations that you've set up for yourself within Redtail to kind of really come up with a bunch of different meaningful reports. One of the examples that I always like to, kind of use with those I'm working with Redtail on is, if you're pulling in data from National Financial and it's, something that you're not always checking Wellscape, you're not always kind of keeping an eye on that, you can still have that data come in. And then if you notice that, one of your top performing clients that are marked within Redtail suddenly has a huge drop in their portfolio value, you can, start looking into that and seeing, what can we do next? And that's all possible through some of the reporting features done or available in Redtail. Redtail also has mobile applications. So if you have either Android or iOS, there are mobile applications so you can always keep in touch with your CRM and make quick updates wherever you may be. Or if you just need to grab a phone number to give a client a call, like you have that at your fingertips. So it's not specifically something that's locked into desktop access. So now that we've kind of gone through some of the kind of basic features that you can expect to see within Redtail, we're going to take a deeper look into some of the, kind of a workflow that you may have if you're going through Redtail and, working with clients and using this in kind of practice. So most people would probably, if you're, depending on how your system is set up, you can start by reviewing your daily tasks for the day. So upon logging into Redtail, you do have this online, or rather, once you're online and logged into Redtail, on your home screen, you do have what's called the Today view, which will give you any kind of tasks or activities that are associated with today, the current day that you may need to take action on. That could be booked appointments. That could just be reminders. That's all kind of integrated within that kind of home view that you have on the Redtail homepage. Now, to take this a step further, there are integrations with Redtail's calendar view that are available as well. So you can integrate, your calendars within Redtail and kind of use that as your kind of home place for your daily schedule. So after reviewing your daily tasks, if you have some free time here, say between the 7 and 8 o'clock hour, you may want to start trying to prospect new clients. So you can go and jump into the seminar feature to start working out who you can kind of identify and hopefully help move through the next steps of your sales pipeline. As I had mentioned earlier, seminars are really good for using, really good to be used to track different events and marketing campaigns that you may be running, whether that be an email campaign, ad, on or even just kind of sign up or views on like a video or a blog. You can, seminars are basically composed of a combination of different workflows and activities, and they all have this kind of set targeted event date. Within seminars, there is an attendance feature, so you can use that to kind of monitor, who's interacting, who's opening up your, marketing emails, who's coming to your event, if it is an actual physical event that you're doing, or even something like this where it's just a virtual webinar. You can use the seminar feature to kind of see where everyone is at. And then, if you see that there is somebody who's more active or who's been attending a few of these, you can kind of identify those individuals and try to move them through the pipeline. One of the other things that you can do as well with the seminar feature, especially if you're kind of using it in conjunction with an email marketing campaign of any kind, Redtail has this feature called email broadcasting, which basically allows you to send out blast emails from within the Redtail CRM. So you would use that information and, kind of some of the configurations that you may have set up, and you can kind of use that to filter different clients and contact records that you have within your CRM, and then kind of create a targeted kind of what they call broadcast email to ensure that the right individuals are the ones that are receiving your message. So you can really make sure that you're targeting as granularly as possible all of the different contacts within your book. Next, we do have, so say we do identify an individual who is going to be onboarding with us. The next step we'd probably want to take is to create a contact record. So contacts are kind of the basic building block within the CRM. There is a quick add button in the top kind of menu bar of the CRM that allows you to quickly create contacts. Now, in the context of Redtail, contacts can be a few different things. They can be an individual, which I think most people would assume that they would be. But then you can also create a contact that's in like an association or a business, or even a trust. So there are a few different kind of varieties of contacts. If it's something like a business, you can have your main business contact, but then that links to other individuals who are working for that business. And then you can also same thing with like a trust or the association contact type. So you have a lot of flexibility to really kind of customize these individual contact records to your needs. One of the things that is really hammered home, especially in with CRMs, is there's a ton of places to incorporate data, and the more information that you can provide the CRM about a contact, the better it's going to be in the long run. If you kind of just put first name, last name, email, and phone number, you may not get as much out of the CRM as somebody who is per se, adding statuses to their contacts, and organizing them, and kind of really setting this up to their custom workflows. And one of the nice things about Redtail is there is a lot of customization that can be applied to the CRM. So we'll get into this a little bit later, but different things can be customized by the database administrator. If you are just kind of starting fresh out with Redtail CRM, you do have the ability to bulk upload or bulk import contacts. They can come from a standard spreadsheet or CSV file. And then there's also a few different third-party sources, such as Apple Contacts, Laser App, and I believe Outlook Contacts that you can import and source as third-party for contact records. So you don't necessarily have to start from scratch. I will say that, doing some of these import items, there is a lot of different fields. Like if you download the spreadsheet that Redtail provides for bulk importing by spreadsheets, there's a ton of fields. So the more you can provide in that spreadsheet, the better. And it just kind of helps strengthen the base of foundation of your CRM. If you are interested in taking advantage of the bulk uploading or bulk importing of the contacts, that's something that you work with Redtail directly. and they'll actually help you, set up the spreadsheet, get that set up, and then import that into your CRM for you. So it isn't like an instantaneous process, but it is something that they really try to help walk you through and make sure it's done in such a way that's beneficial to you. So now that we have our initial contact created, we'll likely want to organize our contact within our CRM. So a couple different ways of organizing clients, and not even just clients, but a lot of the different records that you're going to input into your CRM. The first would be statuses. Statuses are more of a high-level designation for a client. So this would be something like a prospect or a prospect or a current client, sorry, to where the category option gives you a little bit more detailed control. So say, this contact is an active contact, and they're one of our A clients. You may want to set up a ranking system. Some people do AAA, AA, B, C, or however you want to set that up. That is something that is, again, configurable by you. But really the categories are more for detailed designation. So this is where some of those filtering options that you have when using the different seminars, the workflows, or the just the other fields that are available within the CRM can really come in handy as if you spend some time with some of that information. You also have keywords within the CRM. So this is kind of another method of classification, but it's not really designated as like a high level or a low level. One way I like to think about it is, kind of a relevant group. So you can set keywords for, multiple keywords for an individual contact. And those keywords could be like, per se doctor, he's a doctor, he has a PhD, and he graduated college at, Illinois State University. Those are all things that you can set as keywords, depending on obviously your book of business to help classify your contacts in a more granular way, or I guess not granular, but a more broader way, based on some of the common characteristics they may share with other contacts within your CRM. So again, database administrators can configure both the keywords, the statuses, categories, and the sources. The sources being, where that contact, came from, how you got in touch with them, all within your CRM. So if you spend some time really setting that up, you can really customize that to really fit exactly what you need out of the workflow, and really set it up in a way that's intuitive for you as the user. Now that we have our first contact added, we may want to define a family relationship for this contact. Again, this is another kind of method of classification, and it's also showing just how the accounts or the individual contacts relate to one another. So you can, at the very top of the contact record, there is this little box with a little person icon in it that will allow you to create a family relationship. And again, that's just a way to see different different related contacts at a glance. You can define, or when defining a family relationship, you'll want to make sure that you are starting from the head of household's contact record within your CRM. So you'll want to, whoever's going to be the head of household should be the first one that you kind of initiate this family linking screen from. However, there isn't really too much, benefit to being head of household outside of just status and being kind of like the main contact person if you're looking up just that family in your CRM. So if we were just looking up the Smith family, we'd have contact information from James Smith here. But if that number or email from Marge Smith maybe was a little bit different, we wouldn't see that, I guess, necessarily at a glance, but we can always go dive into the information a little bit further to pull up that information. So you can also create, even if it's not someone that you necessarily have booked into your CRM at this point, you can create new contact relationships or records within the CRM as you're creating the family relationship. So if James and Mark are really our only two clients, but we want to make sure that we know a little bit about their children. Make sure that we send the proper emails or phone calls for birthdays or whatever the case may be. We can add dependents to this family relationship, and then we have access to their information kind of separate from digging through either James or Marge's contact record. Now, one of the kind of main, appeals to Redtail specifically is its integration and its ability to work with a ton of different fintech companies to import contact record or to link contact account data into the CRM. So if you are integrating with Redtail with an account aggregation service, everything is automatically linked based on the social security number. So assuming that the social security number listed on the contact record in CRM matches, per se what was provided from Wellscape for that account number, those two accounts or that account from Wellscape will be linked automatically to that contact record. If you do have an account aggregation service set up and there are accounts that aren't linking, you will be notified of it. There is a kind of icon that will let you know that there's accounts that need to be linked. And from there, you can actually manually link accounts to different contact records if there is like a discrepancy, or per se you have a trust account with NFS and it's under a tax ID number. You don't have that trust account created in your CRM. You just want it associated with the trustee. You can kind of do that. You can manually link those accounts to that individual record. Now, when we are linking accounts, there is, some information that we pull in from the various aggregation services that will populate within the CRM. Specifically, you can pull in information such as the assets in the account, any beneficiaries on the account. If it's something with insurance, you can pull in the account writers, account dates. So, established date, close date, things of that nature. Transaction history is also able to be linked to the account if you have any notes or memos on the account as well. And then just general account activity. So if there were buys or sells placed, there was money movement, all of that information is typically accessible by linking the account records in to the CRM. So now let's say that after we kind of went through this whole process here, we're looking to set up more of a standardized procedure in order to make sure the onboarding workflow grabs all the information that we want in our CRM. And we are following up at appropriate times with our clients, even if it's a client that we don't anticipate, being a very high touch, highly involved person that we'll be talking to, on a regular basis. So we can create an onboarding workflow to group or to group it together a few related tasks that we may want to have set up to remember. So in this initial kind of workflow, we're looking at leading up to our initial client meeting, we're looking to kind of just basically collect basic contact information, things such as photos, any details, any email addresses, contact records, phone numbers, family members that you may want to kind of incorporate into the system as well. Any kind of information that we can gather leading up to that initial client meeting. Now, let's say we hit our meeting, our client was really happy and decides to go with our services. We want to make sure that we do something special to kind of commemorate their onboarding. So you can have this workflow trigger a year from the completed date, the completed target date, which was that initial meeting, to remind you to mail out a client anniversary card. Now, this is kind of just a very simple and rudimentary, implementation of a workflow within the system, but these can get really as complex as you would like them to be. These can involve as many tasks and activities as you would like them to, and depending on how your workflow is, this may be something a few things to consider setting up workflows workflows for could be, things like client prospecting, setting up annual reviews with the client, any type of money movement that may be needed, whether that be just a standard money withdrawal if you need to raise cash for that, or if you have clients who are over 72 and a half that are taking RMD, you can set up, workflows to kind of take care and ensure that those RMD that the RMD is withdrawn before the tax deadline. If you have any just general client updates, or if you want to, set a schedule to, regularly reach out to a specific client to ensure that all of their information is correct. Or even if, a client unfortunately passes away, you can have a standardized kind of set of procedures built in with these workflows. To really ensure that you're hitting all of the necessary steps in the process. I know we talked a lot about dealing with clients, but this is also something that you can utilize with just your within your employee or your office. Kind of workflows specific to maybe onboarding a new employee, terminating an old employee, things of that nature as well. So really, it's as flexible as you need it to be. Again, items in these workflows can be assigned to individual users. So if you're working with multiple people, you do have the ability to kind of collaborate in that effect. And then if you kind of get a little bit deeper into workflow, into the workflows feature, you do also have the ability to do a lot of different automations, and those automations can, trigger when specific events happen. That can tie into some of that data that we're importing from the linked accounts, or it could be as simple as something that triggers on every third Thursday of the month. However, really you want to set it up is doable. It's just really kind of defining what you want the outcome of those workflows to be. So now that we've set up that workflow, we're going to also set up an activity for following up on our initial meeting. So we have that workflow that's going to remind us in a year to send them their anniversary card. But let's say we want to have a follow-up meeting in 2 weeks after the transfer of assets has hit the account. We can set up an activity to do something like that. With activities, these are just standalone actionable items that are associated with specific contact records and can again be assigned to different users of your CRM. Really the kind of philosophy behind activities within the CRM system itself is to really make it something that's habitual. No matter how, kind of boring or standard, or routine a task may be, having the documentation backing it up, especially in the financial industry, is always, a good thing. You don't want to ever be caught without not enough documentation. So really, creating activities for anything, whether it be just a simple call to a client to check in, or something more serious, like you're looking at, kind of redoing or reallocating somebody's portfolio, create these activities and, take notes, take advantage of the different, kind of metadata items that are available. So activities can be assigned different categories. They can be assigned a date and time, a location. You can put your notes in there. And all of this stays within that. You have a separate section within the CRM to just view different activities on their own. But if you're assuming that you're setting these up with a contact record, these are also searchable, just within the contact record itself. So you'll have a, very detailed history of your entire relationship with, a client or a prospective client, or even an employee. So really, again, it's one of those things where the more you put into it, the more you'll eventually get out of it. So assuming that we have this activity set up, we'll want to also make sure that we are taking notes. So note taking is imperative to having a productive CRM. It may sound like a broken record, but really it is can't be stressed enough that the more information that you can provide to your CRM system, the more useful and flexible it will be over time. You do have several places to take notes, whether that be a contact record or an activity record, or it's something that you're just, doing note taking within the context of a seminar. There is one thing that is, kind of a disadvantage to the ability to have so many notes and in so many different locations. Is if you're quickly trying to find something, you may be searching through several different notes. So one of the important things to kind of keep in mind when taking notes within the CRM is to really make sure that any kind of vital contact information that you're going to need to be referring to or coming back to on a regular basis really should be within the body of the contact record itself. Not really kind of hidden in a note. You may take notes on a specific thing and glean some new information about your contact. And at that point, that may stay within the context of that note, but you'll eventually want to make sure if it's something that you're going to be referring back to on a regular basis, that it's getting its way into the overarching contact record. One kind of handy thing to keep in mind as well, within the individual notes section of each contact record, you can set notes to be pinned, which basically just means that note will always come and float to the top of your notes section. So if you have like one kind of contact note that is, maybe your initial meeting, that might be something that's good to pin until you make it a certain, way through the process with your client. So now we do have all of this information, and it can be something that may be difficult to manage. Trying to find different information, trying to ensure that you're sticking to a set of kind of standards. So all of your clients, with $20 million in assets, they may be considered your AAA clients, for example. If assuming that you remember to assign that to them. So this is where quick lists can kind of be helpful in that regard. And quick lists are essentially just advanced searches that can be run across your entire database. Once you create a quick list, one of the nice things about it is that it will dynamically update with any changes. So let's say that your AAA client who has $20 million in assets decided to take a risky investment that you did not recommend him to do, and he lost all of his money. You maybe need to, downgrade that client out of the AAA status. And that's something that will reflect in real time within your quick list settings. So assuming that you update that, as soon as you update that client out of that AAA category, that will remove them from that quick list search. One of the things that's nice about quick lists is that it can be used in combination with a lot of the other features that are available within the CRM. So for example, if you're using the email broadcasting feature, which is kind of really geared towards segregating and looking at a specific section of your clients, email broadcasting workflows, even activities can take advantage of quick lists, and then seminars. So if you're really trying to target certain sections or certain areas of your book of business to try to produce growth, quick lists can be a really good way to kind of keep an eye on all of that, and even as a way to kind of track it. So if you notice one day that this AAA client who fell off, you notice them in your other list where he has no money and needs isn't as good of a client for you, or isn't as high value of a client, let's say something again changes, that can be a good way to kind of keep an eye on all of that and realize like, hey, you should not be in this list, you should be in that list. So another kind of just way to kind of trigger some reminders to update where necessary. So now that we've kind of moved through that life cycle, we've identified another individual who, maybe we need some help through the use of our quick lists. We'll then take the opportunity to kind of move them through the opportunity tracker built into Redtail. So this opportunity tracker basically just gives you the option to, keep track of what's in your sales pipeline. So kind of similar to some of the statuses and categories, you can update the opportunity of you can update the specific status of an opportunity as they move through that pipeline. And as you can see in our example, This is something that is a little bit more specific. So, maybe we're getting a rollover from a 401k for an existing client. This could be something that you track there and where that's at. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean just moving over or onboarding a new client. It could be just for looking at some of the specific activities or assets that a client may have elsewhere that you want to move into your own book of business. And another good thing about the opportunity tracker is that a lot of, or not a lot, all of the information entered into the opportunity tracker is also available within some of the reporting features. So that could be a really powerful way to tie in some kind of overarching data with some of the actual Wellscape data that you may have over your clients and really kind of get a good view of where exactly they are at in the pipeline. So just to kind of bring things to a conclusion here, I just wanted to kind of give a couple tips on making sure or making the most out of your CRM. First and foremost is there is no such thing as too much information. The more you can provide, assuming that the information is accurate and high quality, the better off you're going to be in the long run when setting up one of these systems. The next is to really take advantage of the customization features that Redtail provides you. If you can really hone in and spend some time really establishing some of the different statuses and categories and activities, the more standardization that you can apply to your practice, the more you can customize your CRM to reflect that standardization, the better off you're going to be in the long run. And, you're not going to have to sit there and guess, is this AAA client really a AAA or is it AAA in a different context? Different things like that. So really take the time to figure out what works best for you and your team and implement it, in the back end of the CRM. The next is to really spend, again, some time working with the workflows and activities. Workflows and activities can all be templated to where you can easily recreate them within the CRM. And I encourage you to do that. The more, again, standardization that you can apply to your practice, the better and more consistent you're going to be. And that's what you need to be for your clients. If you're able to, kind of automate knowing and trusting your system to remind you when you need to do a specific thing, then you can really spend more time focusing on the needs of the client, needs of, what they're looking to gain out of this than, oh, did I send this person this form to get signed off today? So really spend some time and establish those different workflows and activities, again, to your workflow, to your business. Make it your CRM. And then the final tip is just to integrate your CRM with as many third-party applications as you can. Whether that be a data source such as Wellscape, or it's something like CopyTalk where you're just taking audio notes and dumping it to specific contact records. The more kind of integrated you can get your CRM into your kind of overall practice and the technologies that you're using, the less friction it's going to provide you, and the easier it's going to be to make you want to use your CRM. And really kind of going back to point one, the less friction and the easier it is, the more information you're going to provide and overall better experience you're going to have with your CRM. So I know we kind of went through quite a bit today. Kind of talking about Redtail, there is a lot to it. And really, it feels like we've just kind of scratched the surface on all that is possible. I do just want to spend the last 13 or so minutes here today, just kind of allowing or opening up the floor for any questions that may have had. You can use the Q&A button to submit questions at the bottom of your screen. And I will be sticking around for a little bit to answer any that may be coming up. All right. Well, thank you all so much for attending All right. So thank you guys all so much for attending the webinar here today. I do appreciate the time and attention I've had from you this afternoon. If you do have any other further questions, please feel free to reach out to me at the home office. You can either email me or give me a call. Be more than happy to talk to you a little bit more about Redtail. Thank you guys so much, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their afternoon.